Hey, it's been a minute. Well, real quick, a couple of things. So far, it's been about a year now since here in New York City, I got my TLC license and I was doing the rideshare. For a little bit, I was renting a couple of SUVs to do black car service on the platforms, as well as for some bases here that provide, luxury limo services, which is an interesting experience in itself. That's going to be another video. Thus far, the one thing I've got to say is well, I can't talk about TLC plates because they put a pause on that for the next year. But nevertheless, my experience with dealing with Uber and Lyft, for the most part, I'd have to say that Uber has been giving me a whole lot more jobs as opposed to Lyft. Case in point, like if I'm sitting at the airport in a queue, 9 times out of 10, I'll get a ping from Uber quicker than I would get for Lyft. And typically it's either going to be a Uber pool or whatever the case may be, but they just want to keep you moving. Now, in another video that I'm going to go into in depth is my experience. For the most part, my experience with regards to dealing with Uber services, at least over the phone or via email, it pales in comparison to Lyft. Lyft, I've had wonderful experience talking to anybody, on the phone, and they're actually able to solve whatever problem or concerns or issues that I have, as opposed to calling Uber's line, and next you're speaking to somebody somewhere in the world, and them not being able to solve your problem, and just say they're forwarding your concern or the issue to your local team down here. So in other words, I'm in New York, I'm speaking to somebody in Bangladesh or in India or in South Africa or Paris, and then next thing you know, I'm speaking to them and they're forwarding my issue or my concern back to somebody in New York, so that in 48 to 72 hours, somebody can reach out to me and help me correct or my situation. Which absolutely sucks, and it's a huge inconvenience, because now, what was the point of me calling you in the first place? Whereas I get on the phone with Lyft, whoever I'm speaking to, wherever they're at in the world, so far it's been in Florida, but wherever they're at in the world, they've been actually able to take care of my concerns right there and then. And my experience with dealing with Lyft passengers, for the most part, has been a whole lot better than dealing with a lot of Uber passengers. So I don't have a way to right now quantify why that's the case, but it's interesting. When I've had riders, I would have Lyft riders state that they decided to go with Lyft and stick with Lyft because they've noticed their experience is a whole lot better and pleasurable, more comfortable than it is with Uber. I don't know. But I'd have to say my experience thus far is a whole lot better. Now here, we do have Via. I haven't done Via. And then we also have Juno. I think I've only done a couple of rides with Juno. Juno is supposed to be the one out of all the ride shares that's supposed to pay you the most amount of money. But I'm waiting to get back into my SUV, of which I'm trying to get right now. Pray for me. To go back and be able to offer, the services, on their platform. The one thing that sucks with Juno at the time was that you'd have to complete a certain amount of rides, or a certain amount of rides or something for 2 weeks in order for you to be able to be eligible for quick pay, which is you can get your money right away. Which I think is a huge inconvenience, but they're a startup, they're starting new. But so far, that's been my experience with the rideshare between, Uber and Lyft.